Hey, my friends, my name is Henrik Kuto, and for those of you who don't know me, I'm a filmmaker for a living, and I wanted to take a second to reflect because today is 6 years to the day since I stopped having a regular job and started doing film for a living. And I wanted to reflect back on the day that I lost my old job. And the reason I want to focus on that today is because lots of people all over the world are experiencing an immense amount of adversity, whether it's related to coronavirus or it's related to racial injustice or what have you. We all face things that are hard to stand up to. So I want to talk about one of the scariest days of my life that I ever had to stand up to. My job wasn't the worst in the world. I wasn't working in a coal mine or anything like that, but it wasn't particularly fulfilling, and more so, I had horrible management. There's a saying that I've heard a lot, which is people don't quit jobs, they quit bosses. I think that's a fair assessment, but I was working this job, and it was one of those gigs where they work you 6 hours a day, 5 days a week, so you don't get any of the benefits of being a full-time employee, but you get all of the negatives. You know, they expect you to make this job a priority, but they do not give you health insurance, and you do not have guaranteed paid vacation. You have to accrue it, yada, yada, yada. I could complain about that place forever because they mistreated me. They really did. And by they, I mean just the boss, actually. And I had become a bit fed up with the job, and I had requested a reduction in hours in order to focus on making movies. This would have been in June of 2014. I wanted to focus on feature filmmaking because they had started, some of my movies had been released all over the world and it started to make me some money. So I thought, you know what, if I step back from this job, I won't hate it as much. If I'm able to leave a few days in a row and then come back, you know, I can stand it. But as it stood, I couldn't stand 5 days in a row working for that idiot. So I went to the boss. This was a month earlier. I went to the boss and I made my request, and he told me he'd get back to me. He took a week or more to get back to me, and then we scheduled a meeting. I showed up for work, and he left 5 minutes after I arrived on the day we had a meeting scheduled. Totally blew off our meeting, insulted me greatly. So finally I had to come to him and say, look, I need an answer or not. And I was not being incredibly unreasonable. I was willing to keep working my 5 days a week until we trained a new part-timer or whoever was going to pick up some of my hours. So eventually he agreed. Now, while this is going on, I'm also shooting a movie called Scare Waves on the weekends and keeping pretty busy. So we finished the first weekend of shooting of Scare Waves, and I arrive on Tuesday. I was going to work Tuesday and Wednesday, I believe. I arrive for work. It is the second week that I have had only a 2-day work week there, and I sit down at my desk, start to do my work, and the boss calls me to his office. He calls me in, and he tells me that he's letting me go. We're going to need to part ways. Because I'm sure my attitude wasn't ideal. I'm sure that was part of it. I hated working there at that point, and I hated that guy so much. Crappy boss, real disingenuous guy. Sat down and told me, I was not a good fit anymore. I needed to leave. And then told me this was not personal. He thought that, I needed to be somewhere else, but it wasn't personal. This is the same guy who had once took me aside during a job and told me that I needed to be realistic about my goals in life and not just want to make movies. This is a guy who works in the video field, discouraging me. This is a guy who, when I would get in the newspaper because one of my movies was premiering, he would say, well, did you mention our company in the article? And I go, why would I mention it in the article? You didn't even want to give me the day off to have the premiere. This is that type of guy. So I'm not going to lie. I cried. I was upset. I didn't want to leave that whole job. That's why I had started to exit. But I was assured it wasn't personal. So, and that was a lie as well. He deleted and then blocked me from my personal Facebook to his personal Facebook as soon as I left the building. But I'll never forget going into my supervisor's office to say goodbye, and my supervisor having no clue that I had just been fired. And the place is a nonprofit organization too, so if I had been full-time, I wouldn't have been allowed to just be fired willy-nilly. But that's not the point of this story, because the point is, thank goodness every day that he fired me, that he made me end up in a situation where I had to figure it out myself. I'm so glad that I was fired from that job. Now, that doesn't make him a better dude. He's a real piece of work, and I don't like him. I still don't like him. He mistreated me. He's mistreated other people, but I got out. I remember coming home from being fired. It was probably, I don't even know, 3 o'clock, 3:30 p.m., crying, calling my mother, calling some friends. I got home. I sat there wondering, what the hell am I going to do? And I took a couple deep breaths, and I did something that I've learned is the thing to always do. I got to work. I had a movie called Depression, the movie which many of you may have seen, and I wanted to re-release that movie on Blu-ray, do a limited edition thing. Some people had been saying they'd be interested. So I spent that day prepping the artwork. I spent that day prepping the authoring files. I spent that day prepping the HD version of the movie and getting it ready and putting it up for pre-sale. And I spent 6 or 7 hours at my desk just working, nose to the grindstone on the thing I care about. Because you know what? Why not? I made a lot of progress. Then I went out and I ordered a full bucket of fried chicken. I ate most of the bucket, and then I worked some more until it was time to go to sleep. And you know what? The next day, I had posted on Facebook that I had been let go from my job. The next day, I had a message, and I got booked to work on some commercials to make some extra money. And you know what? I never had a job again. In fact, it was so weird. A couple years ago, I was producing a movie, and they paid me through a payroll company as opposed to paying me in checks and 1099. And I was so weirded out by getting an actual paycheck. It was the weirdest thing because it had been 4 years since I got a paycheck. But the moral of this whole story, or the point of this whole story, not really moral, I guess, is I had to start. And everything I've ever overcome in this life, I had to start. So, if you're hearing this and you're not sure what to do with whatever it is, it doesn't have to be related to movies, it doesn't have to even be related to art. Just realize that if you're panicking, if you don't know what to do, maybe you just need to start. Starting is the first step on anything. So if you're sitting here and you're worried about your future, you're feeling low, you don't know what to do, maybe it's time to start whatever it is that you want to be doing. Because the one thing I've learned making my living, doing what I love for 6 years, and I'm going to be honest, I haven't needed a lot of financial help except thanks to the coronavirus. I haven't, needed much. The big thing is, when in doubt, work. Don't necessarily work on anything in particular, but work. Be working, be creative. Because whatever it is you're passionate about has to be a way of life for you. It has to be something you can't step away from, no matter how badly you would like to. It's a part of you. It's who you are. That's what makes it a passion. So, follow your passion, and it won't lead you wrong. Thank you for listening to this. I hope you're having a great day. I didn't realize I was going to talk for about 9 minutes straight, so I apologize for that. But take care of yourselves and stay safe. And thank you all for all of the support that you've given me over the last 6 years. It's truly an incredible and overwhelming feeling. So thank you, and goodbye.